see here. Okay, are we rolling? Things are looking relatively okay. All right. Just talking to myself here. Good job. Going to be doing a very different sort of stream here than we usually do. This is going to be a programming via game hacking sort of stream. I've been a long time game hacker since probably 1992 when I made my first real game hack, which was hey 10. Always good to see you. I got a mouse over that face. See what it is. Chasm. Nice. Always good to see you. When I'm back in '92, when I was still in school, my first major hack and my first total conversion, in fact, for a BBS door game called Land of Devastation. It was a post-apocalyptic wasteland type RPG. Played a lot like a text version of Dragon Warrior. You had an overland map, and you had weapons and armor, and the sort of classic early '90s RPG games you would see. But it was played on a BBS, which is kind of the predecessor to the internet. I made a large conversion, removed the copyright infringing Star Trek and Kirk storyline from it, and replaced it with a storyline from one of my good friends. Of course, I didn't ask him for permission to do it, but yeah, it was pretty much his story. So I had my own. That was kind of my own mistake there. Yeah, right. That better? Yeah, it's better. And yeah, added over, quadrupled the weapons, doubled the number of armors, added a number of utility items, and made a lot of changes to the game. And since then, I moved on to doing mods for Nintendo games, SNES games, number of computer games over the years. Pretty much, I liked the game enough, I would mod it. Or if it was a game that was just on the edge of being playable, but needed a little tweaking, it would get modded. So I've been doing this a very, very long time. And while I'm still pretty much an amateur compared to other other more prolific people, like some of the people who have produced the absolutely stunning game mod, such as the modification to Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, which adds a map and adds improved translation and adds menus to let you select your weapons. People adding all sorts of features. But I'll discuss that kind of as I go along. This will be I'll be showing things, but Harbor, red shirt, plus one weapon, Kirk Cerberus. Yeah. in that game, the second major dungeon was you'd have to go fight Kirk and his combat phaser in order to retrieve a part that would retrieve a part from the Enterprise's engines that would let you purify water in the air in the wasteland. But of course, this guy who wrote the game, Scott Adams out in Arizona, he didn't have permission, of course, to use the Star Trek IP, of course. So it was my least favorite mission in the game. So I just stripped it out and my friend Jeremiah's, Dallas's storyline in there. That about a renegade. Oh, thank you. Go. Good luck on your hunt there, 10. Thanks for stopping and saying hi. Let's see. I have my controller on. Is my control working? No, my control is not working. Okay, give me a moment here. Shut up. B, turbo A, B, A. Okay. Okay. Why is it not playing? Oh, because we're in debug mode right now. Okay. Anyways, let's get in there. Enough talking. One of the easiest things to do here. Well, here, let me show what's possible with Castlevania. Enable the audio. All right. Why is the audio not working? There we go. So previously, Simon's Quest had a password system. However, these people have gone in and modified the game to add a battery save. And you can not only just play this in emulators, you can literally buy a blank, buy or build a blank NES cartridge with a battery backup, put the EPROMs, burn some EPROMs, put them in there, and play it in a NES, and you would have all these capabilities. You'd have to get the right kind of cartridge with the right kind of mapper, but completely possible. Here. In the original game, there was no map. Now we have a map. Also the number of clues. And now I could just save and not have to deal with a password. Go and buy white crystal. Okay, white crystal. The first thing you must do, the beginning of all things. Whereas before, the translation was absolutely horrible. But this is an extremely high level mod here. As I'll explain in a few moments, I'll explain how they got there. A lot of mods aren't this complicated or this comprehensive. So I've never been able to produce something of this level, but of course I've never really tried because the tools to produce something like this only recently came out. Anytime you want. You can also still enter in passwords from older games if you want. Why didn't I remember space here? Anyways, this is neither here nor there, so I will go and call up my instructor screen here. scene here. All right. Can't see me. Yeah, so I'll go ahead in capture device. I thought I already added this, but I think my software crashed again. Always nice. Always appreciated. Okay. All right. I need to go to. All right, hotkeys. Of course. Slideshow. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna talk about this real quick. This is the best way to explain how game hacking is done. Put this window going up a little bit and get a chat. That. This is a new stream here, and of course, I'm not professional. I don't have editors. I barely have time to plan all this, so please bear with me. Shorty. Oh, Shorty. Birthday. Party like it's a birthday. Gonna drink the party like it's a birthday. Property. It's always so confusing. So we'll put that at 100. All right. So, as you can see here, hey there, Pat. Thanks for lurking. What a lot of game hackers like me got started with was the early concept of the game shark, the game genie. Probably shouldn't be doing it. Let's do it this way. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Sorry about this. It's always a little bit. It's always a little bit difficult for a stream of a new type of stream. Okay. All right. Let's do that. Window cap. Window photo. Boop. Okay, where are you? Okay, that's interesting. You can see the stupid window now. All right. Well, bear with me here. It's going to be the least interesting stream ever if I can't get this working. Play capture. Try it again. Window capture, please. Maybe I could try a different type of viewing thing. Open with. All right, I would like to be able to view this, please. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Open, please. Thank you. Ugh. Yeah, this is not even showing. Tremendous. Can't even select what it is. What's the other way I can do this? Let's do that then. All right. Okay. Well, that isn't helpful. All right. That's at least a start. Okay. There we go. We're back to it. Voice mod's working. Let's hide this webcam, please. Please see my voice. There we go. Looking good. All right. So, like many people, I got started with the idea of the Game Shark. Game Genie and Game Shark took codes that were obfuscated, to access and modify code on a cartridge. Usually the ROM on the cartridge. Sometimes a character ROM, but almost always the program ROM. On a cartridge, there were. Let me show you. Let me show you what this looks like. So you would have, as you can see here, that's tremendous. Where does my face go? A day of never-ending comedy, and it's out. So, as you can see, this is what's inside of a cartridge. Some cartridges have batteries. Some of them also have other mapper chips. What's shown here is one with a mapper chip and a CIC chip. This is the copy control they tried to institute for the NES. Worked pretty well, surprisingly enough. But on every cartridge, you would have a program ROM, which contains all the game program, and then what we call a character ROM, which contains all the sprites. Back then, games were composed of sprites, which were pre-drawn bits of graphics on Nintendo 3 colors. that would be used to compose the different parts of the things you see on the screen. Mappers were enhancement chips, which allowed the Nintendo to have different capabilities that weren't built into the system, either accessing larger cartridges, larger memories, adding scrolling, mirroring, various graphic manipulations, and our saving. What Game Genie would almost always do would be to modify the program ROM here, and only so much of it. But most of the important code was generally pretty far ahead in our cartridge anyways. You're able to get to most of the stuff. But what it did is it worked as an interception. Instead of having a place where it would like modify what's in RAM. Now, some of the game modifiers did let you change things in RAM on other systems. On Nintendo, it didn't. That's why this line here is dashed. But what it would do is when the CPU would call for a certain address, the way all basic computing works, especially back in the 8-bit days, is the computer would say, "Hey, what's at this address?" And the cartridge or disk drive or whatever your storage was would say, "Hey, at this address, this is the value." Now, whether that address contains an operation code or an opcode, like add or decrement or check to see if something's low, basically a simple either a bin number or something to do. It'd say, "Hey, here it is," and it would pass it back to the computer. What the Game Genie did is overwrote in memory via pass-through addresses on the cartridge, but it didn't really overwrite it. It would intercept it and change it. So instead of accessing the actual cartridge, the Game Genie would have that region remap to itself and say, "Hey, instead of a player just died. How many lives do they have left?" On the cartridge, you go, "Oh, well, they normally have 3 lives. So pass back 3 lives." In this one, it would go, "Hey, instead of 3 lives, hey, how many lives does the player have left?" The Game Genie would go 99 or whatever it might be and pass that back instead. Or alternatively, what the Game Genie would do would change the opcode. So say when you died, it would go, "How many lives should you have maximum?" Okay, pass one back and then decrement, pull 1 off of that total and store it here. What the Game Genie could do is it could go and change that opcode and go, "Hey, what's at this place? How many lives are there?" Decrement it. It could go, "Hey, don't decrement. Go get the lives. Don't do anything." So you would always have 3 lives. That would be your infinite lives code. Or in some case, games like Hit Points, like Zelda, you would change the code instead of normally where the code would go, "Hey, you got hit by this person. Go look for this damage value. Subtract that damage from how many hit points they have or hearts." You could just change it to go, "Hey, check this damage. Change that damage always to 0. And then go subtract that 0 from the hit points. Oh, look, you have infinite life now." And every Game Genie code, which would always like an example of a Game Genie code is you'd have a code like this, and that would just be changing one address and one value. So in this case, this code here in 1942 would give you, instead of starting with 3 rolls, you start with 9 rolls. Or maybe you start with 6 lives or 9 lives. So every single one of those codes would only change one address and one value. And on the original Game Genie, you could only have 3 codes at once, which was enough to do things. But I'm going to go back and kind of talk about this real quick. Now, coming up with your own Game Genie codes allows you to change the way the game works. However, why is this still here? Oh, that's why. I hit remove and then it killed it. Brilliant. All right. While you could write your own Game Genie code, you can only have 3 different changes. And this is what we call a volatile hack. Every time you turn off the machine, or in some cases even reset the machine, you would have to go get your code book, enter your codes back in, and use the Game Genie. That change wouldn't be saved to the actual cartridge. So this is the lowest level of game hacking. While it was efficient and let you get things done, maybe let you beat games you weren't able to beat, or games that were intentionally made unbelievably hard by Japanese developers because you weren't allowed to rent games in Japan, and when they released them in the United States, they'd increase the difficulty so people wouldn't beat the games and then return them the same night. So you'd have games like the Wizards and Warriors game, Iron Sword, which is an incredibly difficult, long, and opaque game that has no state. Limited number of lives and a lot of grinding. So you could use a Game Genie code to make the game actually accessible and able to be beat. But in any case, that's what we call a volatile hack. The next level of hack is what we call a targeted hack. Let me check quick here. I need to call up my Hex Editor again. All right. Yeah. And with that, you would know which particular addresses to change. And instead of writing a Game Genie code to do something, you would go in with, say, let's get my hacker back up here. Go back to messing. So we're going to call up my debugger here. That's the code. I want the memory tool. So I'm going to call open memory tool. Boop. All right. So right now you can see over here on the right, there's what we call memory mapper. This is letting you see all the. Oh, hey, my audio's low. Appreciating it. Let me crank this up a little bit. Actually, let me do this. Okay, let's see if this audio is any better yet. No, it's still pretty low. Let me turn up the gain a little bit more. Okay, there we go. It's going pretty well, Wob. Echo Stenchman. I'm drinking some Crown Royal with peach. Somewhere between a schnapps and a whiskey. Absolutely delicious. I'm talking about game hacking here. But if I want to talk about game hacking, I should go get the game that I plan on hacking tonight. So let's go open up Super C. Okay, over here on the right, this is the memory. This is the entire memory map for the NES. As you can see, there's a number of values that are changing dynamically as time goes on. Depending on what's going on, different values would change. Is my controller off again? Yes, it is. I'm talking too much. This also includes things that are getting passed to the memory, being passed to the video. Yes, please get a drink. If anybody needs a drink, you need a drink. So, now, I never actually got very far in Super C because, let me get my controller going again here. There we go. Okay, connected, good. Let's go turn my audio back on again. Turn down the volume so it's not so crushing here. One of the reasons I never beat it is that while there is the Konami code in this, which I just messed up, 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 down, down, left, right, B, A, start. Maybe this version there isn't the Konami code, which is a bit weird. Pretty sure it did. There it is. It's a different code. It's right, left, down, up, A, B, start. Yeah, it's a completely different code. So anyways, let's reset it again. Okay, so right, left, down, up, A, B, start. It'd give you 10 lives. Not the classic 30 lives. So that's neither here nor there. It would be a lot better if the game would give you 30 lives. So we're going to reset the game. And we're going to look for a number. I already did my research, so I already kind of know where to look. Do I not have a chat window here? Where's my chat box? Oh, my chat box is... My chat box is over here. Wow. It's constant fighting with things. Still figuring things out. Let's change this to 450. Okay. Yeah, it's absolutely sacrilegious that they're not using the proper Konami code. But I already know by fact where I should be looking. So, while it gives you 10 lives, technically it's only 9 lives. You have 1 life to start with. So let's go through here and look around. We're looking for address 65AE. Over here on the left side, you can see the addresses. Addresses are in hex, which means you have all 10, but 10 becomes A. So that's 0, A, B, C, D, E, F. So the last address you're going to see is F. Things are in hex because 16 is how things are counted. Base 16 for memory. So we're just going to scroll forward until I get to 65. Okay, 65, A3. So. I want, there we go, program memory, derp. Let's look at working memory, which is not what I want to look at. So right now I'm looking at the memory on the actual cartridge. So 65A, so So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, sorry. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 65 AE. A3. Oh, okay. Okay. That is not where the lives are at. Let me check the memory. Program. That's where I'm looking. Looking at program ROM right now. Okay. Well, we're going back to the program ROM. It's a bit confusing because when I'm editing via Hex Editor, I might as well do that. Let's go over to my Hex Editor. Game hacking. Hex. Okay, now you can hear me at least. And I'm going to add a window capture for hexing. Okay. There we go. All right. All right, and a window. First stream is always a little rough. All right. So here we have the actual ROM contents. So we're going to see if my research is still correct. We're going to go to 65 AE. All right, scrolling. Now what else we need here? Keep these silences from being far too annoying. A little bit of mixes. Where's my boy? Okay, well, I guess I don't have that. All right. Let's go with there we go. A little bit of music. Keep the keep things from getting too boring. While I look for things. Okay, 65 AE. Hopefully the music's not too loud. $65 A. All right, so my research is off. Let's try looking at a different spot. 1 E5 BA. What do you have there to drink, Mr. Stenchman? And what have you been working on lately? Sure you have some projects you've been working on. You always do. All right. 1E. 1E5A. 1E5B. Okay. B-A. Ah, here we go. Okay. Found it. So right here, you'll see the number 9. This is a hex number. No projects. Oh, peach buzz bulb. I wish we had buzz bulbs up here. A lot of people on, a lot of the worst people on Twitter I follow are telling me it's, they're delicious and they don't taste like anything and they'll get you bombed quickly. I mean, it's no Four Loko, which I am far too old to drink, but it's something. Cheers. Anyways, you can see on the right now on the cursor, I have 9 on the screen. That's the number of lives you'll get for entering the Super C code. So I want that to be consistent with the previous It was scientific. All right. I want that to be consistent with the previous Contra game, so it's basically a triple in 5 fingers of sugar water. I'd take that in a second. So I want to be consistent with the previous Contra game, so I want to set that instead of 9, I want to set it to 29. So, a little bit of decimal to hex calculation here. I will enter in 29, hit convert, and my hex number is 1D. So in my hex editor, I'll change that to 1D, and I'll hit save. Now we'll jump back to messing after I open it. And once again, everybody please stock up on alcohol because depending how, unfortunately, the media is completely, playing the Ascent on Xbox Game Pass. Yeah, is it any good? I heard it's pretty. But if it's Diablo, that means I could play that while I am, does it have crossplay? See if it has crossplay, because I know a number of people will be picking it up. Probably me too, if people like it enough. Okay, let's go back to emulators here. We'll pop up a messin'. Twin stick shooter. Ooh, I like those. Much better than clicking. Okay, so calling up Monsieur Super C again. So we're going to hit reset on this one more time. So right, left, down, up, A, B, start. Now, as you can see, I have 30 lives. And that was all done by just changing one value in a hex editor right there from 09 to 1D. Very easy. So now it's consistent with previous games. But I haven't done much thinking into what I want for Super C. What I do want to find is our classic game, Contra. So let me get Contra loaded up here. I also got to go on YouTube real quick and reference somebody because what their names are I can't remember. Some of this research was done by an absolutely great YouTube site, a guy named Displaced Gamers. Go and please check him out. He does a lot of breakdowns on behind the code, showing how things are done. So some of these values I got are from his research in Contra. But that's neither here nor there. So let me jump in here real quick. Let me go back to our Hex Editor here. And this is pretty much how I got my start. I've done a lot of hex editing. Hex editing of DOS games, Windows games, Nintendo, Super Nintendo. The Hex Editor is how almost everybody did their work until about 10 years ago, when they started producing tools which actually let you look at the assembly code, the actual, not quite machine level code, but the closest thing to machine level code for these consoles. And each of these consoles had very different assembly code, depending on what sort of processor. The assembly code's paired to the processor. And the processor for the NES is a 6502 essentially, which is the same sort of processor you see in the C64 and, in the Apple and a few other things. The Apple II. Let me turn down my gain a little bit here. And the Genesis is a 68,000 Motorola. The Super NES was a Rico 1 something, which was a 16-bit version of essentially the Nintendo processor, and they all have different opcodes, different way of handling different things in assembly. So while the assembly is close, it's not exactly the same. Best way to describe it would be all assembly is Latin, but the different versions of the Latin languages, so some of it's French, some of it's Portuguese, some of it's Italian, some of it's Spanish, some of it's Esperanto, but it's all really close. Once you learn how to program an assembly, you can learn how to program in any sort of assembly. You just need to get your reference books out to know how your cases and such are going to work. So, maybe stop drinking that whiskey so fast, making it hard to talk. Instead, I will have my delicious cheap iced tea. It's no Dairy Men's, but it's still nice. So we're going to go I'm going to go pull up Contra. I will drop it in my working directory. No need for you guys to see this. Sorry to hear that your faucet has been turned off, but it happens. Don't let the capitalist viewpoint of I must always be working, I must always have things moving forward to get to you. Sometimes you just have to deal with it. So, drag the Contra thing into here. Now I'm going to pull up my notes and let's get our codes going here. So, we'll see if I can find this right. It's going to be in address B705. We'll see if it's the same in hex. This is for the default weapon. B705. So it's 4 digits. Ooh, I have to scroll for a bit. B7, O, and 5. No, it's I'll have to check the memory then. That's easy enough. Okay, B705 should be FD. I don't see it here, so we'll have to go jump back to Messin. Messin's easy enough to get. Bing! I go open up my Contra game. Now I go to debug, pull up the debugger. No, not the debugger, always do it wrong. We need memory tools. Okay. Scroll down to B705. All right, I am getting the wrong information. So let's see if I can look at it a different way. Nope. Keep going to the wrong one. Debug. All right. Here we're at looking at the. I don't know why it keeps not wanting to show the actual memory. It keeps doing this and duplicating the windows. All right. Well, it should be FD, and it's not. Let's see what we're looking at here. No, that's definitely in hex. All right. Okay, going back to hex. I wrote down the wrong spot, I think. So let's go to 1B. Yeah, why is it? I don't know if I can trust him. CPU address. Okay. Oh yeah, I appreciate it, Chuck. All right, going back to Messin. I just want control over myself when I want to work. Well, we all do. And therapy will help with that. But it's not going to be easy. Anyways, I shouldn't be saying stuff like that. Okay, let's get memory tools. CPU memory. E7. Okay. So, from what I understand, we're going to unpause it. Good thing about this ancient game is that nothing's going to happen if I stand here. What happens if I go and change? Excuse me, let me try to get this memory viewer to work. Unbelievable. Okay. Drag myself down, drag it down here. Drag myself down. So you can see I have 08. That is the number that is going to be the rate of fire for the base weapon, the default weapon. So B6F1. There it is. Okay. So there's different values stored. Hey there, Pepper. Thanks for the high five. Thanks for popping in. Haven't been watching very many streams lately because appreciate it. Been very busy with real life coding. So, there's different values depending on which way you're facing. So, you can watch this right now. Bullets go this fast. 3 pixels. Now, if I go and change it in the memory, and set it to 0F. Thanks for making me into a liar. Okay. All right. Just try this. How do I update it? Hit reset. Okay, coming back in. Okay, go back to memory viewer again. Sorry. So all these values for this weapon are stored in either memory or on the ROM. But there's 8 different, well, there's more than 8 different values. There's, 8 different values. You have how fast the bullets would go down, right, left, up, and then all the diagonals. So, say you're like, here. And each weapon also has. Now, as Displaced Gamer says, a lot of people are like, what is this R? Man, it's been a while since I played some. R is rapid fire. What does rapid fire do? You change it once, you have to change it 8 times. Exactly. And you also, because of the way the game works, we're going to look at B6F1. You have to change it for each weapon. So B6. Not F, B6, F1. So once again, I have to go refresh the memory viewer. That's annoying. I'll have to figure out what will keep me from having to do this. Okay, so we're looking for B B7, B6F1, B6F1. So we go to B6, and then I go to F, and then the single number is not correct. B6F1, and that's F8. Now, if I face a different direction, let's reset the game now. We're just going to do the 30 lives code. B6F1. Bear with me, I'm still learning the ins and outs of this particular software. B6F1. F8. That is not what it is. This is a CPU address. This is in hex. Okay. So let's go back. Let's stop using the tools I'm not quite used to using, like these memory tools within Messin. And let's look in the memory. We're going to try to find every location of 3. Now the problem is that 3, as you can see, is a super common number. So we're not going to look for that instead. We're going to look for FD. No, that's probably not it. We're going to look around B7. This is a lot of the ways you have to figure out is by looking for numbers that you know are in there. B7. All right. Okay. And everything has changed. Am I using a different version of Contra? All right. We're going to jump ahead here because while I did show how to change the code, I'm going to go look in Hex. I'm going to look in Hexen real quick. B705 is not that. What I could look for real quick is I'll look for FD. And then I'm looking for 2 zeros after. Okay. This is going poorly. Let me crash Hexen. It might be an issue with Hexen. With Messin, I mean. All right. Yes, it's just a Messin issue. Let me try popping open Messin again. Okay, let's reset. Let's do a full power cycle. Power off. Power on. Power off. power cycle. Because one of the things that's not really obvious in this game is that every weapon has a speed, which determines, let me fire some bullets so I can show it, which determines how fast these bullets move across the screen. And I'm going to call up on my sheet because I've already So we'll say this, one of the things that you'll quickly discover, especially in the game of game hacking, is that, let's see if Contra comes through, is that weird. It isn't working, but you're going to end up using Excel an awful lot. And I don't use Excel, I use Google Sheets because I'm usually doing my work in a number of different places. So this lets me access it whether I'm on my work laptop, on a laptop in the car, or whatever it might be. So Excel is your friend, especially for game balancing, which I'll explain a bit later. But let me go back into Messin. Let me try to get my memory tools open. Let me go try to find... the spot in memory that they are talking about. Okay. Because one of the things that I really don't like about Contra is that Contra spread is the best weapon. So there's two different ways you can deal with game balance. You can either nerf something that's too powerful, or bring everything up to the same capabilities. Try to balance everything against the thing that's too powerful. My personal thing is to do both. Buff things that are too weak and bring things down. In fact, I generally try to buff things that are too weak to match the best things and then adjust. It's complicated because if you have one thing that's unbalanced, and generally the definition of unbalanced is I always want to be using this, whether it's an ability or a weapon. And every time I'm not using this weapon or ability and using something else, I am not performing as well as I could. Now that changes, of course, depending on the complexity of the game and the game type, you could have situations where a weapon might be more high. You might need more skill to make it more effective, and then it might even be more effective than the weapon you should always be using. And that's fine, because you need to trade off. Things that require more skill should be more powerful. To a point. There's accessibility concepts there, and this is more of a game design discussion than a game hacking discussion. But it needs to be included in there because the line between making simple changes in Hex so you can get 30 lives in Super C instead of 10 lives, it's not very long before you need to start considering actual game balance and game design concepts. So if you make a weapon the best weapon, but you need skill in order to use it, there's a line you need to figure out. If the skill level is so much that only very few people could use it to the point where it becomes the best weapon, or equal to the easy to use and powerful weapon, you'll need to find a balance. And that's where people end up arguing all day on the internet and on forums about this weapon, that weapon. And one of the things that really drove me away from a lot of different games in the past, especially games by a company that shall not be named that has Cosby Room, and I personally hope that they burn in a fire. People know what I'm talking about. They didn't reward skill play. And that's always frustrating. So we're going to... All right. Okay. There's the Konami code. Let me see if the Konami code is the same on what I'm seeing here. Looks good. I'll show it on my screen. 1C 360. Yep, that's the Konami code. So I'll show Hexen real quick. Right here, 1C360, 68844. This is where the Konami code is. 88442121. Here's your Konami code. That's the thing it's looking for as you're entering it. So, what I can always do in Contra is I could change the Konami code very easily so that you only need to enter a small number of F's to get it to work. Small number of ups, we'll say 8. So let me do a quick little hack here. Show what I'm talking about. See here in Hex, as I was saying. So 88442121. That's too hard to remember, so let's just do... Let's go. 01, 01, 01, 01, 01, 01. There we go. Up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right. So, if I happen to save this ROM right now, go back to messing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Up, up, down, down, left, right, left. Up, up, down, down, left, right, right. That's 8. So I've just gone and changed it. If you look at the code I was just entering here, there's 8 8s, 8 number 1s, and number 1s is B. So I've just officially changed the code in the ROM. So instead of needing to enter the Contra code, you could instead go back to messing, reset it, and hit B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Start. Oh, didn't work. Hang on. I think mess in, I didn't save it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's go reset it. Yep, that's the correct working ROM. So I'll go open Contra NES. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Start. click the wrong button. Oh, okay. Looks like I botched that hack. Okay, so what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna close Hexen, pop that open. I'm gonna go get a new copy of Contra. And yes, sometimes ROM hacking is this difficult. Sometimes you screw things up. That's why it's always good to have backup folders and backup and possibly even have your stuff in Git. We're going to pop open a copy of that, and we're going to go look at an address again in Hex. Back to Hexen. Okay, we're going to go to C31. So, real easy way to look as I go 08, 08, 04, 04. Oh, come on. Now, text encoding, just do it in hex values. Oh. Nope. We'll hit, scroll forward here into C. Checking through my notes again. All right. Oh eight oh 08 08 04 04 02. Oh 08 08 04. Oh. 01 is that's the problem. Okay. Bear with me here again. 01 is right. So we're just going to hit right 8 times. To make it go. I'm going to pop open my original version of Contra. We're going to scroll down to OC35. No, that's not it. Okay. So it's 8 01s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. It's BA. Okay, so all right, BA. We're gonna go with here. We're gonna change this again. This is, I don't know why it's in a different spot. So, anyways, all right. We're going to change this to BA, which is 80. So, well, the max lives, exactly. I don't know why the Hex Editor come up here. So we're back on the Hex Editor now. All right. So we're going to go with 40 is B. So we're going to hit B 40 10 times. So up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A. Okay, so I hit save. I go back to Messin. I pop open Messin, which is our emulator choice. And in the next stream, I'll explain why it's my emulator choice. Oops. And Messin just crashed on me. Beautiful. Okay, gotta crash it. All right. So, up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, start. I just hit B's instead of those. And now I have 30 lives. So you just got to hit up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A. Hit B 10 times. And with this modified file, you will get 30 lives. Now, what I need to look for is using that. We're going to go change recent files. We're going to go pry open Super C again. And we're going to look for that annoying code for Super C that, since we already changed Super C to give us 30 lives instead of 10, because the live code is right, left, down, up, A, B, start, which is supremely annoying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are going to be 6 numbers. So now we're looking in here. We're going to figure this out. So I'm going to pop open a little text file here in the background so I can keep track of these numbers, because that whiskey was incredibly strong and I probably should get some more. So up equals 08, down equals 04, left equals 02, right equals 01, B equals 40, A equals 80. So we're going to look through here. We're going to look for the code, and the code is right, left, down, up. So the code we're really looking for is right, left, so that's 01, 02, down 04, 08, down, up, and then A, which is 80, and then 40. So I just typed that in a little text window. I'm going to go pry this open here and go search for this. And there we go. There's our code. There's our super annoying code. So instead, we're going to change that to be, let's go with 40. So 1, let's go back to Hex so you can see what I'm doing. That red stuff's the stuff I changed. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 B's. Go back to Messin. Now with Messin, I do have to reprop it open, otherwise it'll try to restore from a saved state in the actual program. I don't want that. So we go over here, we go pop open Super C. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And no. 30 lives. You're absolutely not getting tested on this. This is just showing you how a lot of us got our starts, especially me. These are some very simple hacks. Just going through and changing hex addresses to make things easier. So, up, up, down, down, left, right. Maybe I should see. I would have to make a large number of changes in order to make it actually have the original code. So maybe just having it as 6 B's is good enough. And I'm a dead mofo. I'm absolutely not getting tested on this. So that's how I was able to change Super C and Contra. I still have to do some research because Evidently, the addresses I researched aren't there, which is definitely a thing. That's quite annoying. But one of the things I'm looking to change, and I will be changing in a future stream here, because an hour and a half is pretty good explanation here. I'll hopefully sort out my streaming situation so things will be better. But as I was showing you, there's numbers to determine how fast shots move across the screen. And depending on how fast those shots move across the screen, that determines your rate of fire. Because in most cases, you can only have 4 shots in Contra on screen at once. So if those shots, instead of moving 3, only move 1, it'll take a long time for those 4 shots to get across the screen before you can fire another 4 shots. If you want to increase a rate of fire, you make them go across the screen faster. That R power-up, all that does is, say for the basic shot, it increases all the weapons' rate of fire, speed across the screen, the speed of the shot speed, by 1. So with default weapon, it'll move 3 pixels per frame. With rapid fire, it moves 4. And that's really not noticeable. That's why most people, when they get rapid fire, it's like, what does rapid fire, what does R do? Use your rapid fire. And what does that do? Nothing. So, my planned next hack will be to change Contra so that when you pick up the rapid fire, it will have a very noticeable effect. Bringing either doubling or increasing the speed of the shots across the screen by 50% or 100%/doubling. Depends on the weapon. There'll be a little bit of nerfing of the spread gun, because spread is way too powerful, and once again, as I said before, it's the only weapon you ever want to use in that game. Maybe you want to use a laser if you're extremely hardcore, but in most cases you want the spread. So I'll be modifying things so that spread will be a little bit worse, and every other weapon will be a little bit better. Except maybe the machine gun will be a lot better, because machine gun kind of sucks. So, in that case, sorry about a few scrambles and a few missed and cross signals there, but we got 2 hacks off. I mostly wanted to cover hacking Contra, so we got most of that done. If you have ideas of things you'd like to see, games you'd like to see me hack, Nintendo's a good start, but I'm able to hack NES, Super NES, and everything else. I eventually hope to be building up to the point where I'll be showing you and doing on stream my hometown River City ransom hack. But that will require me to get some more advanced tools. Luckily, things like Messin. Let me go open some things up here. I'll give you a little bit of touch on an older version of my hack here. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. Huh. I don't seem to have it anymore. River City Ransom. That's interesting. In any case, let me at least show you the game, what I'm building up to. Messin, you gonna play nice with me or not? Wow. Okay. Give me a moment here again. That's bizarre. course, being a little bit drunk probably isn't helping my ability to explain things, but we're going to go pop up a messing again. Go to my search window. Go grab my Ruby City Ransom. Okay, here it is. An absolute classic and underappreciated hack game, RPG brawler. But as you can see, this is outing me a bit of a place I used to live in. But all these things are easily done within the tools that a number of emulators present you. A classic saying there on the wall. Chuck, you'll get a particular laugh out of this. Now, a lot of these things aren't going to stay. Fraser Mall. Name of the restaurant here. So these are all things that are very easily possible within hex editing. This is an older version of the hack. I'm going to be redoing the hack. Name of the streets. Name of the park. But I'll be redoing the hack because it needs to have a number of things done to it. Oh, I better fucking run before I get my head blasted off here. A number of these places no longer even exist. Check out the name of this comic here. You'll get another laugh out of this. As you can see, there's some errors because this hack isn't well formed, and it's part of the reason why I'm going to be fixing it. So look at the prices here. Again, the prices are all screwed up because I screwed up this hack. But I have all the stuff already written out, already planned out. So eventually I'll be getting to the point before I finish up my NES hack. Apple Nuggets. Checkers has the Apple Nuggets. But we'll get here because I still need to redo this hack. All the restaurants haven't been named yet. So, in any case, that shows you what can be done. I did that particular hack maybe, 15 years ago, if not earlier. I need to redo it because, as you see, the prices were screwed up and a number of other things are screwed up. But it's all stuff that's very easily possible. And that's all done through just hex editing. The stuff you were seeing with earlier with Simon's Quest, well, that involves stuff like this. We can pry this open. There is, try to pop up in the debugger here. It'll let me. Yeah. These are the advanced tools I didn't have back then and only have recently appeared. This is what you see here on the right side. This is the assembly code. Not the assembly code that the developers put together, but a close approximation. Changing this, all I'm really doing when I'm hex editing is I'm taking one value. I'm taking one value and you're replacing that value with a different value. And maybe that value is a number, maybe it's a call, because each one of these things here in the assembly, these are just byte codes. You can see the byte codes here. E50, 38. These are all just numbers in the code. So maybe I'm not changing, say, the number of lives. Maybe I'm changing, instead of, say, an addition, I'm changing it to a no operation. So instead of doing an addition, which can be an addition or a subtraction, because 5 plus negative 2 equals 3. Or you can do 5 minus 2. But generally it's always done through addition. So 5 plus the negative value of this, 3. This right here lets you add new functionality, lets you add new code to there, which allows you to add whole functionality that you didn't previously have in games. This, I am not here yet, because I didn't even know these tools existed. See, add and carry. This is branch of positive, jump to subroutine, set carry flag, subtractive carry. These tools did not exist, at least in this polished form, when I was deep into my game hacking. So now you can add whole new functionalities in the games. People if Tony's here, another streamer there, I don't even know his name on Twitch, but I'll have to check it. Let me get his name on Twitch because it's worth mentioning. Who am I? Seymour. One of the first people I followed on here. I have too many people I follow now. Maybe someone else knows his name. Tony Ortiz, 15 on Twitch. He's a big fan of the randomizers. There's people out there who've taken code like this and made randomizers for games. Now, whether that's an outside tool that goes in and intercepts things, or it's a hack which puts the randomization directly in there, depends. Because going back to my hacking instruction here, staring at the wrong, I had to go to Twitch to get this thing. Going back to the thing, this display right here, which you can see. What I was doing with the game with the hex editing is I was just changing the ROM. There are community-made tools which let you change the ROM. In fact, I've made I've made my own community tools for a number of games that let you do this. Like I have a tool I use to change the stats of soldiers in Final Fantasy Tactics. That's how I was able to get my customized people in there. So, where it gets even more complicated is I'm eventually going to be working up in these hacking things to do explaining PC games. Because as everybody knows, the PC gaming has the biggest modding community that there is. So, let me go Cole over here and streaming. You can see all the different ways you can affect the code and the way things work here on the NES. When we get something like a computer game, you can definitely see how much more complicated it becomes. Because you can go in with the Hex Editor, you can change stuff in the EXE or in the data files. You can use a community-made tool to change the data files. You can use a text editor to change config files, because some things may be accessible in the configs. You can go in and use a hex editor on the save file or a save game editor, or in the models and textures and packed files, community-made tools. Photoshop that changed textures, modeling software to change the models. There's also like packers and unpackers, let you go into the data files and put it out to like a parsable data file that you could read. That's either a text file or whatever, or even a spreadsheet editor. So that's why out of all the systems, this is why you have, like on Steam, you have the workshop, because there are deeply dedicated communities out there who are dedicated to making games even better than they are. Not just, adding cheats or making games easier, but adding whole new functionalities and making games more representative of other communities. A good example is I absolutely love the RimWorld game, but the guy who makes it and his programming team, the designer, is a bit of a chud. And the psychology mod makes it so that you can have, instead of a straight person being default, and if you're gay, you are completely gay, and it takes up an advantage slot on your pawn, you add there's a psychology mod out there which has a Kinsey scale and has the sex drive scale and has so on and so forth. So when it comes to when it comes to game modding and the amount of things that people can do with games, you'll always see more of it in the computer community. But I mean, we're gonna go over to one of my favorite places to go, because I'm spending a lot of time working on emulator boxes right now. So romhacking.net. Someone's taken, by using those tools I kind of showed you, to making a Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy IV, which is my favorite, is an ultimate deluxe version of it, which means party swapping. Party swapping among 10 different members at the end game. You didn't have that before. You can have Dark Knight Cecil at the end game. Boss rush mode, new game plus with max levels and stats. New weapons, new bosses, randomized AI. Offensive buffing skills, rare items and drops now become much easier. A few minor tweaks. This is all stuff that was completely not possible until they started creating these tools that let us view the code and add code to the game. But that's for another discussion. We're going to come back next session, next Friday, for another run at Contra. We're going to go through and hopefully rebalance the weapons a little bit. I know almost everybody here has played Nintendo Contra, so do some thinking about what weapons you liked, what weapons you didn't like. I'm already have some thoughts. But until then, everybody, thanks for coming out. There's no test on this. Everybody, please be safe, be healthy, get both of your damn shots, wear your mask indoor, and make good decisions. Because right now, unfortunately, for the last year and a half or more, we've all had to make good decisions all the time. We have to keep it up. Everybody be good. I love you all, and good night.